What's happening? Dad, what are you doing?
Who even are you? Shut the hell up.
I'm your daughter, Dad. Get away from my mom right now.
Oh, you think you're above me now that you make some money, huh? Is that how you talk to your dad? What an ungrateful toad you are.
Dad, all I'm asking you is to step away from my mother. Please, Kaylee, stop talking. I'm okay. I'm not injured. Jack, please don't hurt her.
Oh, now you're start begging, huh? Why didn't you behave before when I asked you where you hid all of my alcohol?
Jack, I didn't hide anything. Please, you must have drunk them all.
What a lying witch you are. You're not scared of me anymore, huh?
Please, not in front of our daughter.
Dad, stop. I have what you're looking for.
My name is Maria, and I had been married to my husband Jack for over 20 years now. We built a life together and had gone through many ups and downs. We had a daughter together named Kaylee, and I love her more than anything in the world. One of the biggest challenges we faced was when Jack's mother, who was in her 80s, became ill and needed a lot of help. I took on the responsibility of caring for her, and although it was difficult at times, I knew it was the right thing to do. I remember the first time we brought her to our home, we had to make some major adjustments to accommodate her needs. We had to install a stair lift to help her move around, and we had to make sure our home was safe and accessible for her. At first, it was overwhelming to juggle caring for my mother-in-law along with my own responsibilities. But I quickly learned how to manage my time and prioritize my tasks. I became an expert at managing medications, preparing meals, and providing companionship. My parents passed away when I was young, so I had always treated my in-laws as if they were my own. My father-in-law passed away years ago, so she's the only parent I had left. So despite the challenges, caring for my mother-in-law was also rewarding. I got to know her on a deeper level and we developed a close bond. I was grateful for the opportunity to show her love and compassion in her final years. But things got worse as time went on. Due to the stress of the situation, Jack became increasingly controlling and abusive, both mentally and physically. He had always struggled with some drinking problems, but they have never been that bad. I felt trapped in the situation, not knowing how to get out of it without abandoning my mother-in-law. I tried to keep up a facade in front of our daughter Kaylee, but she was smart and knew something was wrong. I could see the pain in her eyes every time she witnessed Jack's behavior towards me. I knew it was affecting her, but I didn't know how to protect her from it. As Kaylee grew up, she started to confront Jack about his behavior, which only made things worse. I felt torn between my loyalty to my husband and my love for my daughter. It was a difficult situation, and I didn't know what to do. Kaylee and I were so financially dependent on him because I didn't have a job. I had always been content to be a stay-at-home mom and caretaker to the whole family. And so, as time went by and the atmosphere in our family became more and more toxic. Kaylee moved out. She was only 17, but she had already worked as a very popular and successful nail tech. She really knew how to find her way in the world. Meanwhile, at home, things only got worse as Jack became more and more of an alcoholic, abusive husband. One day when Kaylee came home to visit, she walked right into Jack screaming at me. He was visibly drunk, and he couldn't even recognize her at first. "What's happening? Dad, what are you doing?"
Who even are you? Shut the hell up.
"I'm your daughter, Dad. Get away from my mom right now."
Oh, you think you're above me now that you make some money, huh? Is that how you talk to your dad? What an ungrateful toad you are.
"Dad, all I'm asking you is to step away from my mother." She looked around and saw that a lot of furniture in the house had been smashed. I immediately started crying and begging him not to hurt Kaylee. "Please, Kaylee, stop talking. I'm okay. I'm not injured. Jack, please don't hurt her."
Oh, now you start begging, huh? Why didn't you behave before, when I asked you where you hid all of my alcohol?
"Jack, I didn't hide anything. Please, you must have drunk them all."
What a lying witch you are. You're not scared of me anymore, huh?
"Please, not in front of our daughter."
Dad, stop. I have what you're looking for.
Kaylee then gave him some money for him to buy alcohol. That was when he finally left us alone. I was so ashamed that my daughter had to witness this side of her father. I felt like I had failed her as a mother. Kaylee was visibly upset, but she remained calm. Once Jack left, Kaylee turned to me and hugged me tightly. She told me that she had seen enough and that it was time for me to leave Jack for good. She said that she couldn't stand to see me suffer anymore and that she would support me no matter what. I was hesitant at first, but Kaylee's words gave me the strength. I needed to finally leave Jack once and for all. With her by my side, I quickly packed my most important belongings and we left the house. It was a difficult decision to make, but I knew I had to pull the trigger. Kaylee and I should be able to start a new life together, free from the abuse and control of Jack. That night, she took me to the hospital, where many signs of physical abuse were found. Kaylee was devastated to see me like that, and my heart broke for both of us. I never wanted to see her suffer, but it seemed like that was the only way out. Kaylee promised me that she would take care of all the papers for me to divorce my husband. Then, Kaylee returned to our house and realized that Dad had never done anything to take care of his own mother. Kaylee then took my mother-in-law to her place so that we both care for her. At last, the three of us could finally stay together, away from Jack. As soon as I saw my mother-in-law, I couldn't help but start crying. She hugged me so tight, and then she called Kaylee and me to sit down for a serious conversation. She looked at us both with a mixture of sadness and determination in her eyes, before finally breaking the silence. "I have something important to tell you both. My husband used to have a secret amount of money that I had been hiding away from Jack for years. It's not much, but it's enough to help you both start a new life." Kaylee and I looked at each other in surprise. We had no idea that my mother-in-law had been keeping a secret stash of money. "Why did you keep it a secret?" "Jack has always been controlling with money. He would never let me spend money on anything he didn't approve of. I knew that if he found out about his money, he would try to take away from us." Kaylee and I listened intently, understanding the gravity of the situation. My mother-in-law continued, her voice shaking slightly. "I want you both to have this money. Use it to start a new life, away from Jack. I know it won't be easy, but I believe in both of you." She hugged us both tightly again, and we hugged her back just as tightly. It was a moment of raw emotion as we all came to terms with the reality of our situation. But at that moment, we also felt a sense of hope and possibility. With the money and each other's support, we knew that we could start anew and create a better life for ourselves. However, we couldn't stay happy for long. When Kaylee and I took my mother-in-law to the hospital, we discovered that her situation was getting worse. Unfortunately, she would be needing surgery soon, and we didn't have the money for that. I thought of the money my father-in-law had left us and convinced her to let me use it for her hospital fees. She was hesitant, but Kaylee and I were very determined and convinced. Then we waited for Jack to leave for work before sneaking into our house where the secret safe was. Going back to that house ached my heart, thinking about how Jack didn't care whether or not we lived or died. He hadn't called once, as if we were gone forever for him. I could feel tears running down my cheeks, but I tried to keep it together for Kaylee. When I opened the secret safe to look for the cash, I discovered that nothing was there. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The safe was empty, and my heart sank. I had no idea where the money could have gone. My mother's health was deteriorating fast, and time was running out. I knew I had to act fast. I started to search the entire house, looking for any clues that could lead me to the missing money. I searched every room, every drawer, and every corner of the house. Then we found a small pile of money under Jack's pillow. Perhaps he had already found it as soon as we were gone. No wonder why he didn't call, because he didn't need us anymore. He had the money to spend on alcohol already. We had no idea how he found out about the password. Defeated and deeply worried, we returned to my poor mother-in-law. I was devastated, but I knew I couldn't give up on my mother. I decided to take matters into my own hands and think of something else. Without the money for immediate payment, we had to take out a loan. It was a huge burden, but Kaylee and I were both determined to do the right thing for our little family. Luckily, the surgery went well and my mother-in-law was recovering. Still, Kaylee had to work really hard to pay for the loan. She started teaching me how to be a nail tech, and at the age of 42, I was determined to learn a new skill if it meant giving my daughter a better life. Kaylee was an excellent teacher and I was a quick learner, I practiced every day, and soon enough I was able to do basic nail designs. As my divorce was finalized, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over me. I had been unhappy in my marriage for a long time, and I knew that it was time to move on. I returned to our place again, but this time with a different attitude. Jack wasn't there, but I didn't feel that emptiness in my chest anymore. I packed all of my belongings as well as my mother's and then headed over to Kaylee's place. She had been my rock through it all, and I knew I could count on her to help me through this tough time. As we were unpacking, I came across a small box that I didn't recognize. I opened it up and found a letter addressed to me. It was from my father-in-law. I was surprised to see his name on the envelope. I had never seen this letter before. Perhaps because it was stuck under so much stuff in the house. I wondered what the letter could be about. When I started to read it, my heart skipped a beat. It turned out that the person who took out the cash in the safe was not Jack. It was my father-in-law. He had used the cash to buy a piece of land under my name. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I felt a mix of emotions, gratitude, shock, and confusion. My father-in-law explained in the letter that he knew that Jack was an alcoholic and that I'd have to take care of his wife and grandchild. He foresaw this situation years ago because Jack was his only son, and he's the one who understood Jack the most. He knew that the land would increase in value over time, and we could sell it if we wanted to. So instead of leaving the cash in the same house with Jack, he secretly came up with a better solution for us all. With the real estate he left us, we were able to pay off the debt that we had for my mother-in-law's surgery. It was a huge relief to have that burden lifted off our shoulders. But we didn't stop there. Kaylee and I decided to use the remaining funds to open a nail salon of our own. It was something we had talked about for months, and now we finally had the opportunity to make it happen. We put all of our energy and passion into the business, and it paid off. Our salon quickly became the talk of the town, and we had a steady stream of clients coming in every day. We were finally living the dream. One day, my ex-husband Jack came running back to us, begging for help. He had gotten himself into trouble at work and got fired because of his alcoholism. He was in deep, and he needed our help. I did feel bad for him, but I couldn't forgive him. After all those years, he only regretted his decision when he wanted the money from us. But he didn't stop there. He would come to our salon, harass our clients, and say the nastiest, cruelest things to Kaylee. This time, we decided to take matters into our own hands. We reported him to the police and let them handle it. We couldn't let Jack drag us down with him again. And with that, we moved on with our lives. I never imagined that at the age of over 40, I would be running my own nail business, but I was glad I took the leap of faith. It taught me that it's never too late to learn something new and start over. I was proud of myself for not giving up and for turning a difficult situation into a positive one. Finally, Kaylee, my mother-in-law, and I were rewarded with such a hopeful and loving life.